guys, my name is Michael, and today we are going to move on. We are going to work again with CSS, and of course we are going to apply it today to our GtkSpinButton widget. So that being said, let's take a short brief. We are working with this function at the beginning. We saw what kind of function they are, what kind of things we can set and change with this function, and so on. Later we saw how we can apply properties, how we can take properties from other widgets from where it inherits, and of course we saw signals, which kind of signals we can use, and how we can handle those signals. And of course it is time now to work with CSS. As you already know, for CSS we need some functions to create to make our CSS work. So basically this is what we are going to do today. Okay, so that being said, let's start with the first one. So I'm going to set void load CSS, and of course again void, because we are not passing any parameter, and we are going to say provider. So this is basically the first one which we are going to create. We are going to create our provider, and then we are going to create the second one, the display. And of course the last one, which is our screen, which takes as parameter our display. So we need to pass this time the display right here. Now that we have them, we can basically create a pointer to our CSS file. And let's call it CSS file, and we are going to say style.css. You know, we have it here. One thing which I think you probably know, you need to remember, is that the file, the thing which you are passing here, need to match with the path where the main it is. So I have the style CSS and main C in the same folder. If not, then you need to fix your path. Okay, so that being said, we are creating our file. Once that we have it, we need of course create a G file, because we need the next function, which is this one, G file new from path. And we are going to say CSS file pointer. Why not? Because we are using this name. And of course here we need to pass our CSS file. Now that we create it, we need of course the error also, which I forgot to. Yes, I didn't mention, whatever. G error, and then we are going to say 0. We have a lot of problems here. Error, not error category. Okay, now that we have it, we can move to the next function, which is adding the context, or maybe I said style context add provide for screen. So we need this function. This is the next move which we are going to do. Now the first one is our GTK screen. So basically it's our screen. The second one, it is our provider. We need to cast it because it says GTK style provider, and we have a GTK CSS provider. So basically we need to cast it to like the function says, to GTK style provider. GTK style provider, and then of course we are going to pass our provider. And the last one, it is our priority, and this will be provider priority, of course. So GTK style, how was that? Provider style provider priority application, yes, this one. Okay, and now the next function, our gboolean, which make a test for our file, and if something goes wrong, then we can check this function. So basically, let's say if GTK CSS provider load from file, and the file is this one takes, of course, those three parameters. The first one is the provider, the second one will be the G file, so our GSS file pointer here, and of course the last one is our error, and we are going to say wrong file. Okay, and then because we are done, we can call the GObject unwrap on our provider. Now let's check to see if everything is okay. Okay, we have a problem. Provider, we need not provide. Just one S, not two S. One is too much. Now let's compile it again. We have another problem. Provider. Okay, let's compile it again and see. And we still have one place now. Complete point type. I got stroke. Okay, we have 2 stars and here only 1. Of course, because we need to pass its address. If not, it's not working. Let's compile it. And of course, our provider again. Now everything works fine. Let's check if it really works. I'm compiling and running, and as you can see, it works fine. Now if I change the name of the style CSS to something else, and I will compile around the program, still nothing. Why? Okay, GTK CSS provider from file, it's equal to 0. It works fine, and now because it's a gboolean, we don't have this file. It still works fine. Why? GTK CSS provider load from file, we are calling it. So why is this not showing the error? Strange. Anyway, maybe I'm searching something wrong. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Let me do something else. Let's check error again, 0. Okay, and now it looks fine. Strange, isn't it? Even if I'm checking this error, still I get nothing. Why do I not get nothing? So let's see what happens here. Gint ret Okay, and then I'm going to say g print red. It is. Let's see what's the story with. What does this returns? It doesn't. What? Let us go back to its reference, because I'm not sure that I understand what the heck. So yes, we have, as you can see, we tried to see what's the story with this one. GTK CSS provide a load from file. GTK provide a load from file says it is a function. It's a gboolean function, says loads the data contained in a file into CSS provider. We did this, making it clear any provides loaded information. So, and says the first one is our provider. We have it. The second one says g file pointing to a file to load. So we have here the path, so basically CSS. Okay, and the last one says return location for error or null. So it says returns true, the return value is deprecated, and false will only be okay. Okay, returns true, but says the return value is deprecated and false will only be returned for background reason if an error is now null and the loading error occur. The track error while loading error connect to the passing errors. Okay, I see now. We are going to talk. I don't know if I was talking with you about this part, but we are going to talk about this part because now I see how it looks like. So basically, if I'm going to drop this here, I'm going to drop this here. So now if error is not equal to says nothing, and of course if I said if is equal to null also says nothing. If I'm change the name so that it is another file, we still have nothing. And if I say now it's not equal to null, okay, so I'm going to see what's the story with that. Anyway, just leave it for a moment. It is quite crazy for me, but whatever. Okay, so that being said, we have our CSS function. We created it. Now I'm going to move it right here, down here. Now let's set some styling. Window, let's say background color, let's say brown. No, brown. And it's not working. Why is not working? Background color, our window. Yes, of course it's not working because we didn't load CSS. So we are going to load the CSS. Now that we are loading, we can use it. Let's see. Yes, it works fine. Okay, so that being said, that this is the background. Now let us change this background color to background image, and then we are going to say no, let's try something new. Linear gradient to bottom, red, blue. Let us compile it and run it, and as you can see, now we create something different. We are not going to use again our background color. This time we called something new, which is the background image, and by doing that we said the linear gradient should be the linear, okay, there is a gradient, so it should be to bottom. So this means all the way from up here to bottom. Make it to be red to blue. Okay, so basically this is what does. So this is how we're creating our background with background image. Okay, now let's go back a little bit to our description. Here, as you can see, our CSS description says that CSS nodes are spin button, undershot, and entry, and so on, button down and button up. Okay, so we are going to take this one and we are going to say spin button, and let's say background color should be red. I want to show you something. Compile it and run it. You see, it doesn't apply. We cannot set the background of the spin button to red, because if you need to understand something. Here you have a spin button. If you watch, let me create some padding 10 pixel. You see, here is our background. Here's our background color, which is the main widget. This is the main spin button widget. Our widget has three other widgets. The first one is the entry, this one right here. The second one, it is the minus button, and the third one is the plus button. Okay, so basically when you say background color yellow or red, you are setting the spin button background, which you don't see it if you have no padding. You see it, but not very clearly. Watch, you see, you don't see, you see something right here and so on in the corner. Okay, so if you want to set the background of the entry, then you need to go to spin button and then access your entry. So now you can set your background to red. You see, now it's red. Of course, you can do something else. You can set background by using RGB and then saying 25, that's 255, 58 and 44. So we basically said red should be full, and then green at 58 and blue and 44. And now you see we have a different color. The same thing, you can also change it if you want to, for example, RGBA. So here you can say let us change to 71, and then let me put to 99 and 71, for example, 71, and of course the last parameter will be 0.2. And now, as you can see, we have a nice background. Okay, now there are some things which you need to understand. There are some very important things which you better be prepared to understand them. Let me show you something. Let me set the margin left, let's say 100 pixel. Okay, now I will compile this program. As you can see, you see this margin here, it was our spin button was pushed now to the right. Okay, this thing you can also change it here. Watch. but just remember, you are not pushing at this point you are not pushing the spin button, as you can see. You are pushing all your entry. So just be sure and clear that you understand what you are changing. Let me change the background of the spin button to something else. Let's say orange, or no, brown. So let me compile it and run it again. You see these changes? You see how these changes took places? We were changing the color to brown, and now the background color of our entry, it disappeared. So let me call the red one here. Now when we apply background color to red, we have our red color back, but it's not working anymore with RGBA, of course. Just remember that. Watch. You see, it should be also red. It is not. It's not working. 0, 0. Now something else. Now it is something different. You see? So don't expect that it works the way you think that maybe it is working. It will be not. Just play with these background colors, and then you will see when exactly takes this changes place. Okay, so that being said, you see, now if of course if you want to have them both, then you need to set them both. Now if I'm setting them both, you see the things are moving, but not at maybe again you thought it happens. Don't believe that if you set something, change the other thing too. No, everything it changed for itself. So basically the margin here left, it is set from here to here, and this one it is set from here to here. Okay, remember that, it is very important. Okay, let me drop this one here because we don't need it. Let me comment this part here because we don't need it also. Now of course there are some other things which you need to remember. For example, color. Let's set it to yellow. Okay, I will compile it and run it. Let me do it again. Okay, now I have a problem. Where's the problem now? Yellow, brown, color. Let me remove. Here is the problem. Okay, now you have your color set to yellow, you see, and works fine. But don't expect that if you try to change the background to red the way how we change it here, don't think that the text color will change too. No, it will not. You see, it's not changing. The text is not changing. So if you want to change the text, then the color should be catched inside the spin button and not inside the entry. Okay, even if the text is inside the entry, still the text will be affected through GtkSpinButton itself. Of course, now you can make a lot of change, like for example font size. I had this size and 15 pixels. Now I compile and run it, you will see it is bigger. You see the font is bigger. If it's not big enough, just change it to 25. Now it is real big. The same thing happens with the font family. Why is happening this shit? Okay, font family, let's say Verdana, for example. I'll compile it and run it, and now we have our Verdana. And you can also use the font way, which is bold, now it will be very big. Yes, so let me reduce this to 50 pixels to not have it such big. Okay, the same thing goes to font style, for example. Font style, again I will go in through code block editor, and I will see where this thing happen. I will remove it because I don't like it. Every time when you type something and then you let to autocomplete to do the job for you, it puts the same word 2 times. Okay, let's pull it to italic. I will compile it and run it, and now we have an italic test. You see, works fine. You can also set a variant if you want to, font variant. Again, you see, same story. You have to normal. Of course, you know, you have the small caps. I know there are a lot of other options which you can work with. Now I let it to normal so that everything is the same. And yeah, letter spacing, you can also set it. Let me set it to 3 pixels. This means every letter when you type it, it will have a space between it. You see this space right here? This space applies to those characters. Now watch, if I move this part down here, you see, nothing's applied. Okay, so remember that where and what do you need to set? You need to set your spin button, or you need to set the entry of your spin button. That's very important. There's of course border radius. Let's set it to 50 pixels, and probably it's not gonna work. No, of course it's not gonna work, because border radius only applies to entry this time. Watch, you see, now we have this border radius right here. Works fine, but it works only on the spin button entry and not on the spin button itself. This means our entry, like we already saw this, what kind of things. Oh yeah, yes, let me this is very important, text shadow. This is a thing which is I want to show you. Let me say 3 pixel and then 2 pixel and red. Yes, okay, watch. When I compile and run this program, you see we have this shadow here. Now okay, let me change the color to something else, because red is bad. Let me set it to black. Let's go back. So you see we have this shadow here. We can make it bigger so that we better understand it. Let me set this one to 25. Okay, now it's better. You see we have this text shadow here which is black. Okay, when I select the whole text here, we still have this shadow. You see the black shadow is there even you select it or not. This thing doesn't happen if you move this one here. Watch, if I move this one here, now only the selected text will work. You see, it is selected and we have that black shadow there. If it's not, nothing is there. You see, so basically the same thing like I told you. If you want to have them both, then set them to the spin button directly. You see, setting them to spin button directly, you can have them both, not just not selected but also selected. This is very important. This is what I wanted to show. Maybe if you need only the text shadow to be to take place when you select the text, then just use text shadow on your entry, and you have it right here, and here everything is clean. But this is a matter of your choose and things which you are like it. Just remember, these things are very different, where you are setting your shadow, where you are setting your padding, and where you are going to set your margin. Okay, these things are very important when you are working with me. I'm suggesting you to work with different background colors all the time until you're done, and you will see then when you make some changes where those changes takes places, because if you set only one color or both in the same color, you will notice the change. What do you think happens if I put now here red, and then I copy this one here and I draw it right here? I will compile it and run it. You see, just because of that border radius, where is it border radius here, let me hide it. You see, it looks quite crazy. Of course we have this border here, but I think you understand what the story with it, because if you drop the background at all, bam, you see, you don't know anymore what happens there. You don't know what thing is moving here, what's the with this margin here. It's the spin button margin took from here to here, or it is the entry which took place from here to here. You will never know. So basically this is what I'm trying to explain you. Always set backgrounds to your widgets, and at least until you are ready with your application. Once that you're done and you're sure that those changes are not needed anymore, then you can just drop colors or margin or whatever, and then let the program flow to look the way you think it has to look out. Okay, so this is basically a good thing for you. Now of course you can take advantage of the alter color. You see, we have here, we said from to bottom, so from up to down we said red to blue. What do you think happens if we now let me comment this one here, and let us use the RGBA this time to, let's say, 99. Okay, and then 71. Okay, watch, nothing happens. Let us drop this color also. You see how it looks like now. Now we have red here, and then pink, magenta, and then blue. You see how our program changed? You can make also this kind of changes. Why it happens this? Well, because we drop the background color of those two, and then we decide to use the RGB alpha for it, and that's the way how our program just changed to this nice color over here. And then once that you play a lot or more with these things, then you will understand them better. Now it's time to move on. We are going to talk about the buttons now. So spin button, okay, spin button, and of course our button dot down. Now that we have them both, we can change their colors. Let's say background color red, let's see, I will compile it, and the background color is changed to red. The setting goes for up. We are going to change it to, let's say, green. Okay, we forgot something here. I forgot. So now we have it to green. Both have different colors. Now, of course, we can set its text color also. Let us use then the yellow color for down. Oh no, let's call it magenta. And of course we are going to use the same thing for up to. I will compile it and run it, and as you can see, the minus and the plus button changed now to another color, which is now magenta. And you can use the border style also if you want to, and just use it solid, for example. Okay, I did something wrong. Style, yeah. Anyway, color black. Let us set the color to black. Let me run it. You don't see too much here, but I am going to set it to the border to 10 pixels. So basically you will see it better, or at least it should be better. Our border we set to be 10 pixel and should be black. We don't see too much. Why? Let me try 20 pixels and see if this happens somehow. It doesn't happen because okay, let me drop this part now here and change. We are going to make another change, and I'm going to copy this one here, and we'll see about the hover also, how we can set it. So basically here we are going to say hover, and the same thing here also. And for this we are going to use a border style solid. Let us use the same thing here too. Now let's see, let's compile it and run it, and now works fine. But the hover, let's use another one, call him black. See how it looks like. Now it looks better. You see? Now it looks better. Now we have the hover. Of course, when we are hovering, the text, which is magenta, which it is changes to yellow. So basically our program behaves the way how we needed to have it. Let me let this text shadow here to have it for all of the text. So now it's good, now it's fine, now it looks fine. Now we have nice looking entry styling, and of course we have everything created what we need to know for our CSS. I don't know, maybe there are a lot of other styles which you can provide or you can apply. Maybe there are some other things which you need. Just try to combine them to see what kind of new styles you can apply to your widgets. And then if you have some new ideas or bad ideas, just leave a comment and we can use them in the future and so on. Don't try to use random names. You have here the styling, so this means if you go to CSS here, you can see exactly what kind of things you can use. It's not working everything, so don't expect to work everything. Like you see here, for example, if you go to W3 schools, then if you go to learn CSS, you have a lot of things. So just don't think that if you see a lot of things here, they are working too. So because it's not. There are things which they are working with CSS, and there are things also which they are not working. So this is very important for you to know, and which kind of things you can apply. Okay, so you see these things are very important here, but don't expect that a thing like this one it will work, because at least not now. I don't know later, but now it is not working. Let me put it here. Let me copy it because I didn't copy it. With 200 it will crash our CSS completely. Yes, you see it's crashing because there is no something like this or left, or those things are not working, you see. So just remember, before you choose to work with CSS from maybe from W3 schools where you are getting your information, just be sure to take a look here and see exactly what kind of things you can use. Here you have all its reference, and then once that you know which kind of thing you can use, then you can work with. You see here, for example, we have linear gradients, the thing which we are working today, and we set it to different color. Of course, you see here you have 45 degrees. Let us apply it. Instead of to bottom, we are saying 45 degrees, and watch, you see how nice looks like now. You see here it's from red to blue. So these things you can create them yourself. 75, I don't know. Just think about something and create something for yourself. Be creator, and you will succeed it. Okay, so that being said, I think we covered everything which we need to know about CSS, and if there is something which was left behind, just leave a comment about it, and we are going to talk in a new tutorial about it. Until then, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.